Keli ata ve'oideka Elohai Elohim emeka Keli ata ve'oideka Elokai 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 Elohim emeka. Okay, with such excitement, anticipation, and feeling privileged to start learning right now. And I'm not sure how many of you ever learned Tanya before. I'm sure some of you have learned Tanya before. Tanya this is a whole, not another world. This is the world. It's not another world, right? People say this is another world. No. This is the world. That's I was thinking about it while I was singing this nigun. This is actually what it is. There are a lot of other stuff is, that's a whole other world. But this is the world. Good morning. This is the world. This is really to begin to understand our world, who we are, our place in the world, to delve into all other Sfarim as well in the Torah, in the Chassidus, P'timiyas Torah. You cannot do it. You can't do it without the Tanya. And within the Tanya itself, within the Tanya itself, people say the Sefer Tanya, but within the Tanya itself, there's 5 different sections within the Tanya as well. Come sit next to me over here, if you don't mind. Good morning. Welcome to you. So you have the first part of the Tanya, which is known more as the Sifram Shel Beinonim, the book of the Beinoni, where that has 53 chapters in the Sifram Shel Beinonim. That's the first part of Tanya. When people speak about Tanya, they're actually usually referencing to that first part of Tanya. I'm just going very, very basic right now, just because many of us never learned Tanya before. So I'm just going to go just very, very basic. The first part of the Tanya is called Likutei. It's in the Sefer. If you have a Tanya, and I could print out, but it's very kedai. Everyone should have a Tanya. You should get your hands on a Sefer Tanya.
You bring it every day?
Yeah, the full, meaning the full Tanya. Yeah, definitely. Keep one here. Keep one here. Yeah, the one that the Hebrew one. No, meaning. Like we'll be we'll be learning it inside. There's tons. There's tons. The one that is the most incredible one for English speakers so far as that I've seen is this one, Lessons in Tanya. We have it in the shul as well. That's when on Chabad.org, when you go to daily studies with the text, that's the if you've ever seen it, that's the translate. It's from here. That's the first part is Sifron Shel Beinonim. That's the Tanya when it talks about the Nefesh Elokit, the Nefesh Bahamis, and we've done little slivers of pieces throughout our learning here. The second piece is called Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna, and that's what we're actually going to be learning right now. We're going to be starting with the second Sefer, Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna, and we'll discuss that in a second, why that's so. Then the third piece, after the Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna, is what's called Igeres HaTshuva, the Alter Rebbe's journey through the road of Tshuva. After that, we have Igeres HaKodesh, another section. And after that, we have Kuntres Achron, the last Kuntres. Anyway, it's a masterpiece. When the Berditchev, when Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev got a hold of the Tanya for the first time, so he said a statement that Hasidim quote all the time. He said, how could such an infinite Ribono Shel Olam be found in such a tiny little sefer? That's a pretty, coming from the Berditchev, that's a pretty strong statement, right? Meaning that in this sefer, in the Tanya is, it takes us all, if we just let ourselves trust Be'emuna Shlema and go with the Alter Rebbe, Reb Shneir Zalman of Liadi, the founder of Chabad Chassidut, where we will find ourselves in this world and knowing how to deal with this world and knowing how the world can deal with me finds absolutely new places we never saw before. The world of Chabad, the world of Chabad, it is a binyan. It's an actual, it's not vorts. It's not the cute sayings and, vorts for Shabbos. It could be. You could quote, the Alter Rebbe and the Tzaddikim and Chabad at the Shabbos. But what we're doing here, it's mamish a binyan of learning. Just want to share with you personally how I absolutely fell in love with the Rebbe and Lubavitch, because I know that for me, when the second that I started going to the Sfarim of Chabad, and specifically the Tanya, I felt that I have a chance. I felt like I actually have a chance to make it here, to make it through, to navigate myself through this world. So that was the first time I ever felt that. It was very clear. It was like a boom. I went to Sid. It was those days when I went to Australia for the first time, and a friend brought me out to do his wedding, and it happened to be that this guy was getting married on Gimel Tammuz, the 3rd of Tammuz, morning Kenny, the third of Tammuz, and that was the 3rd of Tammuz. The Rebbe's the day the Rebbe was nostalgic was on Sunday. And so I was there for that Shabbos, and that Motzei Shabbos I had a concert. Now over Shabbos I was meeting the coolest, amazing people, just incredible people out there in Melbourne, Australia. Just sweet people, and 99% of them were Chabad, with Lubavitch. Amazing cats. These guys, not just like amazing deep, also like the coolest cats. Just really people that I would totally choose to hang out with, without a doubt. I would totally choose to hang out with these guys. They're incredible. And we really had an amazing Shabbos, and I was excited. Hey, I have a concert tonight, Motzei Shabbos. Great. I go to the concert. Remember, the night is already Gimel Tammuz, because Sunday was Gimel Tammuz. Night's Gimel Tammuz. So I go to the concert, and there was maybe 8 people there. 8 Altakakers there. There was no one came. None of this chevra, none of this crew.
The recorded album?
No. It's a few years. Right there. You just revealed. No, at that concert there were 10 people. This was 8 people. So there's 8 people. I didn't know. I was so embarrassed, but I also forget about being embarrassed. I couldn't understand, where did all these cool cats that I met over Shabbos? Where are they? These guys would for sure love to come to a show like this. How often do they get, guys coming from Eretz Yisrael to come do concerts in Melbourne? Like, what is this? How could this be? So, I couldn't understand until the sound guy came and he explained to me. He said, "Okay, I'm gonna help you now, and then I gotta go too." I'm like, "What's going on here?" He said, he looked at me. He's like, "What do you mean? It's Gimel Tammuz." Meaning, like, what's the question even? It's Gimel Tammuz. It's the 3rd day of the month of Tammuz. It's the day that we mark the Rebbe's transition, whatever that means. Also back and forth into the next world. We have the Farbrengen. We have these Vadas. We don't mess around. Then I'm talking about guys that didn't even look like they're totally full on Lubavitch, but each of them carried within them this absolute pride. It's a pride I was so jealous of. I was mamish, hopefully it was kinat sofrim, which means holy jealousy, that these guys are walking around. It doesn't matter where they ended up in life and how far they may have gone, whatever it is, they carry with them some level of pride that is indescribable. 2 more quick, as I was saying this, there's today a very famous musician, without mentioning names. He used to go through a very ugly tkufa in life, bad period in life. But whenever I saw him, he would always go like this to his necklace, to something that he was had in here. He kept on going like this whenever he was going, and he was up to no good. So finally, one time we asked him, he said, bro, what's going on? He's like, whatever. Like, what? He's like, oh, whatever. He had the Rebbe's dollar in like a necklace, kind of like hidden over here, and he kept this like he held on. And he's back now. He's Aleph Beis. There's even a more happened a few months ago. Someone that is completely off. But if you dare mention anything that has to do with the Rebbe or Lubavitch or the Tanya, you just don't mess. It's like this border. It's hard to describe it. But more importantly, what it is that it's a chain to back home. It's this chain that no matter where you've gone, once you're wrapped yourself around this chain of the Alter Rebbe, there's this umbilical cord that I guess gets reestablished or whatever it is. And then when you wrap yourself around that, it's a constant sense of always being not schlepped. I don't like, schlepped means it's like forceful. It's this ratzon to always come back home. And through the words of the Alter Rebbe, we see how and what in the world we're doing here in this world, but in a way that is talking to our nefesh elokit the whole time, in a way that's speaking to our godly soul, that part of us that always wants to be the one that's representing us. When you introduce yourself in the world, you don't want to be introduced as someone that's, oh hi, I'm Mr. Nefesh Bahamas, which means hi, this is the animalistic soul, right? Although what happens quite often is that when we go out into the world or whatever it is, we identify ourselves and introduce ourselves through our nefesh bahamit. And we'll get much more into that later on. But what we would love to do is to be people that introduce ourselves and expose ourselves to the world as our nefesh elokit, as our godly soul. Now this concept of nefesh elokit and nefesh bahamit is not found clearly, it's not described what we're going to be learning. That is in the beginning of the Tanya, the first Sefer, Sifram Shel Beinonim. What we're starting with is Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna, which is the second piece of the Tanya, where according to the older Hasidim, this was actually going to be the first piece of Tanya. I only learned that recently. The Alter Rebbe was going to have this as the first piece printed in the Tanya, and afterwards have the Sifram Shel Beinonim, the 53 chapters with which most people start, and we continue. So, and you'll see in the Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna, where he'll say a statement and he'll say, K'mo she'yitba'er, as will be explained. But this was explained last Sefer already, but they never even changed around the tfus, the typo here of saying, it should have said as it was explained, but really it says as it will be explained. Now we can keep on doing hakdamas and bichlal about Chabad, about the Rebbe, but I want to learn. I want us to actually learn and go inside, because then you feel right, then you feel geschmack, right? Then you feel real. But to really taste it, I don't have to do any more hakdamas, because the Alter Rebbe himself has the most wonderful hakdama for this Sefer, Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna. Now just think about the words for a second, those three words. Sha'ar, a gate. This is how you go into what? Yichud Veha'emuna. What does the word yichud mean?
Oneness.
Yeah, so what does that mean? What is that?
Hashem's.
The oneness of Hashem.
Hashem is one.
Right. What that means. Veha'emuna. And believing in Hashem. This is the gateway. I heard Rav Weinberger say, without going through this sha'ar, you don't really have you can't hold on to all those other beautiful things you're learning afterwards. You can't really hold on to it. This is the gateway. We go through here, and we go and we deal with the question that each of us have all the time. Since I don't live in a world or in an era where I have a problem with duality, chas v'shalom, right? I don't live right now in an era where I'm confused with many gods, which was an issue at many times in history, where this concept of the God of this, the God of that, I know, right? So Lamaisa, what does it mean to me when I say the word Hashem Echad? God is one. What does that mean to me? It's the highest point in davening, right? I cover my eyes, I teach my children to say that with utmost kavana. And what's going to happen to us one day when our kid is going to ask and say, Abba, Daddy, Tati, what am I supposed to think about? What am I supposed to mean? Or what's such a big inyan of saying the words Hashem Echad, that God is one? Why is that such a big inyan? And what he's going to do with that here is just absolutely incredible. So I have for you photocopied this Hakdama for Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna. If you have a Sefer Tanya, please bring a Tanya. If you just want to focus on this Sefer, they sell this Sefer as well individually, the Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna. What we're also going to be doing is seeing a lot of a Perush on Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna through this as well. Anyone know the yellow Shas? There's the white Shas, that's Rav Kook's Svarim. This is Rav Steinsaltz's Perush. You should have a Gesund Refuah Shleima. This is Rav Steinsaltz's Perush, Be'er Tanya. It's very different than all other Perushim that you've seen before. But if you want to get one of these, we're going to be seeing a lot of the Perush of the Tanya through Rav Steinsaltz. But get a Sefer Tanya, bring it, keep it here, take it home, whatever it is you need to do. And all the learning we're doing should be Li'ilui Nishmas Nachum Shimon ben Yitzchak Aryeh. Okay. Melukat, Likutei Amarim, Chelek Sheni. This is the second part, right, of Likutei Amarim. You know the word Likutei, where do you know that word from, Likutei? Right, Likutei Ma'aran. But if you grew up in Israel, you know what the word Likutei means very easily, because it sounds like another name of something that our kids are going to put on their backs next week when they start going to school. Yalkut. What does a Yalkut mean? A backpack. That's how you say in Hebrew. Yeah, today people say Tiggav, but Yalkut, that's how I grew up. Yalkut is a backpack. What do you put in a backpack? A bunch of things. You melaket. You gather together. You ever hear my friend Joseph, you've heard of Joseph Gittler? Leket? What is that? What is leket? It's the gathering together of all these things that would have been thrown away and the distribution of it. Likutei Maharan. The gathering of sayings of Rabbi Nachman. Likutei Amarim. Gatherings of Amarim, of sayings of the Alter Rebbe. Likutei Sichos. You've heard of that wording before again? By the way, if I'm sounding just I'm just starting very pashut, very simple, because everyone's going to look very confused in the next few days. So right now I want to start off at least, but things are just very, very simple. But you got to hold on really tight for this stuff, okay? Likutei Amarim, Chelek Sheni, Hanikra B'Shem Chinuch Katan. This sefer is called Chinuch Katan, the education of a katan. Melukat mipi Sfarim u'mipi Seifrim K'daishi Elyon Nishmasam Eden. It is gatherings of teachings that are based on Sfarim u'mipi Sofrim K'daishi Elyon. This is also the same Hakdama, the way the Alter Rebbe does a Hakdama for the first piece of Tanya, when it says that this is gathered from books and from Sofrei Kedoshei Elyon. Which books is he referring to? That this Torah that we're going to be learning is based on? So the Masoret is, the Frierdiker Rebbe said, it is 2 or 3 main Sfarim. The Shlomo Katz, okay, the Shla, the Shnei Luchos Abris, the Maharal of Prague, who the Alter Rebbe was a descendant of, the Maharal of Prague. And I also saw last night that it's also based on the Reishis Chochmah as well. Now when he says here though, Umi Pi Sofrim Kedoshei Elyon, but then it's also based on these Sofrim Kedoshei Elyon, these authors, these individual people. Who is he referring to? So is he referring to mainly to the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, and to his own Rebbe, who was his Rebbe? The Maggid of Mezrich. And one more person that they attribute it to is Rabbi Mendel of Vitebsk. Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Vitebsk, one of Eli's greatest Rebbes, the Pri Haaretz, who was the first Hasidic Rebbe to form Nefesh B'Nefesh in Lahavdil, and come here and make Aliyah in Eretz Yisrael with his good friend Rabbi Avram Kalisker. In fact, this Reb Mendel of Vitebsk, who was also a student of the Maggid of Mezrich, went to Eretz Yisrael, and he took with him 2 friends to also go to Eretz Yisrael, Rabbi Avram of Kalisk, and the Alter Rebbe was on his way to make Aliyah. He was going to come here as well. what ended up happening? By the time the Alter Rebbe starts journeying towards Eretz Yisrael, he sees, wow, this camp of Chabad, they really set up shop already. Meaning it was already there was all these branches, and there was so many Hasidim all over the place, and he couldn't leave the flock. And back then you couldn't say, okay, I'll just, people always say, why didn't you just take them with them, right? Even one person to make it to Eretz Yisrael was a complete nes. Can you imagine trying to bring 3,000 people? It would be impossible. So anyway, it's again, Melukat mipi Sfarim mipi Seifrim Kadosh Elyon Nishmasam Eiden Meyusad al Parsha Rishona Shel Kriyat Shema. This whole sefer, I believe it's 12 chapters, is found its basis is the first Parsha of Kriyat Shema, which is Shema, right? The Shema, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Olam Vayed, and Ve'ahavta Es Hashem Elokecha B'chol Levavcha V'chol Nafshecha V'chol Me'odecha. I just want to read for you from what Rav Steinsaltz says about this. HaSefer beYesodo meva'eh et HaParasha Yishana Shel Kriyat Shema. What is this sefer that we're going to be learning going to help us understand? Et mashma'ut ha'echad shebapasuk harishon. Understanding what we mean when we say the word echad in the first pasuk. Ha'achdut ha'elokit ha'choderet et ha'metziut kula. The godly oneness which penetrates the whole reality, all of reality. Uketzad mishtalshelim hadvarim derech baruch shem kvod malchus olam va'ed. And how does this concept of the oneness of Hashem and godliness filling the world trickle down through what? Through us saying the words Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Le'olam Va'ed, leading us to what word? Which is the key word here, Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta. And you will love. And we're going to we'll probably feel very stupid sometimes while we're learning in a good way. Because when was the last time we even thought about any of these things when we said the Shema? It's something that we say all the time. The point here is not to feel stupid. The point here is to feel privileged that we get a glimpse into what's really happening. The real Metziut, what's really taking place, what's really going on. So, just to even taste it, because I want to leave time to get preparing for davening. And by the way, I think what would be better is, I'm not sure how we'll learn tomorrow or the next morning, but I want guys to have access to tables so you can take notes. Okay, we'll figure that out. We're going to change it up. We'll figure it out. Chinuch lanar al pi darko gam ki yaskin lo yoser mimena. Whenever anyone wants to give a shiur on chinuch, you use those three words. They're key three words. Al pi darko. Education, educating children must be each. We spoke about this yesterday in the parsha, in the parenting shiur. Each person must know their child is their own olam, their own world. Chinuch lanar al pi darko. Gam kiyaskin lo yoser mimena. When you teach a child in its own unique way, that which they necessarily need to hear, because remember, you could have two kids in your family and they need two completely different ways of chinuch. The more kids you have, the more unique and individual ways you need to come up with. As we were saying yesterday in shiur, you bring more children into the world, it's on you to figure out more ways of developing unique curriculums for each child's ability to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what it is. No two ways are meant to work for the same two. One way is supposed to work for two people. Each child, it's their own olam. It's their own world. And the Alter Rebbe opened up with this pasuk that tells us that when you develop this inyan of chinuch for each child, and it's right and it stems for them, it's there, it really connects to what their calling is. So look at the words, Gam ki askin, even when the kid gets older, lo yoser mimena. That way that was developed just for him never leaves him. Lo yoser mimena. This way, this individual curriculum, which was created just for this child, when it's suitable for the child itself, it never leaves this kid. It continues with him forever. Hine midichtiv al pi darko, but from it being written al pi darko, that it's in accordance to his own derech, Mashma she'ena derech ha'emes la'amita. That means that this derech that was created for this child is not really the emes la'amita. Why not? Right, meaning, so what's the inyan with him? Right, so what's the shaila before you see it inside? What would be the shaila now that you should ask in the pasuk? Why are we so? Or okay, that's one way of looking at it. That's very good. Yeah, why not just give him the? Well, we can already answer that because maybe he doesn't have kelim for that full picture of emes. But why are we so excited that he won't leave this shita that was designed just for him? If this shita that was designed just for him isn't really the whole picture, it's just a fragment of the picture. It's slanted to him. It's exactly what the Alter Rebbe is opening over here. Al pi darko mashma she'ena derech ha'emes la'amita. If it's just his derech, that means that it's not really emes la'amita, it's slanted. What's a good? I want you guys now to think. What would be a good explanation? How would you ask this? How would you ask this shay, like, as through a dugma, through an example? I want us to develop the way we understand
it. Like a diamond with facets. You teach a child one facet, the one he's tuned into. There are all those other facets that the child doesn't see.
Right. He has no comprehension. No, even if he sees it.
It's a fragment of the truth,
right,
that the child receives.
Right.
It's really only a fragment that we can give.
Right. I want to be more tachlis. The more tachlis examples, like if you were trying to turn a kid onto Shabbos, okay? What would be like a very, not a low level, but a more like mitzumtzum level, contracted way of trying to explain to a kid what Shabbos is about? Give an example for a kid that you need to explain to them when they're 6 why they can't turn on, any gadget on Shabbos. What would you explain it?
You say like, if you ever brought your kid to a wedding, you say like, you ever see a chatan and kala under the chuppah with like on their cell phone or like,
right,
so hold on a second, I got time.
Right,
doing whatever,
right,
interrupting what's going on.
Right, right. So that's that's like a low level of trying to explain that. Now, let's say a kid takes that concept of what we're talking about, and that's what he goes up with, right? So what happens to a kid like that? His concept, okay, lo yosei, he has a chinuch, he has a Torah that was designed for him at the age of 6, describing why he shouldn't why you shouldn't turn on an iPhone on Shabbos, right? The kid grows up, he's 16, he's not leaving his shita that he grew up with, right? So what ends up happening to his concept of what the kedusha of Shabbos is?
Yeah, it grows in.
Or worse, right? Right, just exactly. So the Alter Rebbe is saying over here, so why are we so excited with such a mitzumtzum concept that he's never going to leave it? You hear the question, right? It's a great question. The pasuk is tricky, right? We'll do one more line. V'im ken mai maliusa shegam ki yaskin liyasir mimena. Why is this such a great thing that he'll never abandon this way? Achine modazu, it's well known. Kishar she'avodas Hashem v'yisadeseya, that the roots of avodas Hashem and its foundation, hein dechilu urechimu, it's love and awe. This is the foundation. These, the Alter Rebbe says in the first sefer, it's also the wings. This is the wings. If you want to fly, you need both wings in order to soar. Hen dechilu urechimu hayira. Shoresh beyesod l'sur mera. The yira before Hashem is the root and the foundation of refraining from doing things that are bad. Ve'ahava, and the love. Leve'aseh tov, to take on all the good things. The mitzvahs aseh. The kiyum kol mitzvahs aseh deoraisa. Uderabanan, and keeping everything that the Torah tells us. Kmo she'yisbar b'mekoman, like will be explained in its place. And over here, this is the first example of something that was explained already in the Tanya, but because this was supposed to be the first part of the Tanya, it says, Yit Ba'er, will be explained. So what did the Alter Rebbe do? He just opened up with the question, he brings a pasuk regarding chinuch. And he says, what's the great deal? Why is this so important? And then he begins to branch out and he says, okay, you want to understand this question? Let's go over here. You have yira and ahava. These are the foundations, the key elements upon which all of Avodas Hashem is founded upon. The yira causes a person to have pachad, not pachad, but refrains a person from doing things that are wrong. The ahava is the foundation which reinforces people to choose to do right. And without this, you can't begin to explain to a kid anything. This is the foundation of chinuch. But it's not just the foundation for a chinuch for a child. This element of understanding, these two concepts of yira and ahava, escort us throughout our whole lives. And even though we think, oh, that's for children, that's for kids to say, oy voy voy, don't do this because that's bad for you, or do this because it's good for you. Elements of that continue to escort us throughout our whole lives. We'll continue with this next paragraph, B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow morning. Yishar koach. And if you can, to please bring the sefer.
Of course, you're going to start Sha'ar Hayichud Veha'emuna.